What happens when someone you gave your all to treats you like you're just another option? Let that sink in for a moment. You showed up. You gave your time, your energy, and your unwavering loyalty, convinced that if you just kept proving your worth, she'd eventually see it. But she didn't. Instead, she took you for granted, assuming you'd always be there in the background, ready and waiting, until she felt like acknowledging your presence. And the worst part? You let it slide. You tolerated the bare minimum, convinced that if you hung on just a little longer, things would shift. But deep down, you knew the truth all along. You were never her priority. You were just a backup, someone easily overlooked, easily replaced. But here's the game changer. Today, that ends. Today, you reclaim your power. You stop seeking validation from someone who never truly saw your worth. This isn't about revenge or proving a point to her. This is about you becoming the man who no longer lets her choices affect him. A man who has mastered the most powerful tool of all, emotional control. She thought she could keep you in her orbit, stringing you along while she explored other options. She thought you'd always be available, just waiting for her to notice. But now, everything changes. The moment you detach and walk away without a second glance, the power shifts. Not just for her, but for you. You become someone she never anticipated, someone out of her reach, a man who has mastered his own emotions, so that her absence no longer holds any weight. And that, my friend, is where the real transformation happens. She thought she could treat you like an option. Now she'll experience what it feels like to be discarded, not out of malice, but because you finally understand that your time, your effort, and your attention are too precious to be wasted. She will feel the void you leave behind, and it'll haunt her. The silence will gnaw at her. The indifference will drive her mad. She'll second-guess herself, wonder what went wrong, and regret what she lost. But by the time that hits her, it won't matter, because by then, you won't care. And that's the real lesson learned. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment saying, I am in control. Number 1. The illusion of choice. She thought time was on her side. She believed you'd always be there no matter what. She could take you for granted, thinking you'd just wait around, accepting whatever little crumbs of attention she decided to toss your way. Why? Because you made yourself too available, acting as though she was the only one with options, while you were just lucky to be in her world. But here's the truth. People don't value what they think they can always have. They don't chase what they believe they already own. The human mind craves challenge, and when something comes too easily, it becomes less desirable. She had options, many of them. And because you were constantly there, you became just another option, not a priority, not a necessity, just something available when it suited her. She wasn't afraid of losing you, because you never gave her a reason to fear it. And that was your biggest mistake. But now, the dynamics have shifted. You are no longer the man waiting around for her validation. You're not the one hoping for her attention. You're the man who steps away, who removes himself from the equation entirely. And in doing so, something powerful happens: scarcity. When something becomes scarce, it rises in value. When people can no longer have easy access to something, they begin to desire it more. And when she realizes you're no longer an option, she'll feel that loss. She'll question herself, second-guess her decisions. But by the time that realization hits her, it'll be too late, because you won't be there anymore. You won't be waiting. You'll be moving forward, focused on your personal growth, your discipline, and your evolution. She made her choice. Now, she'll have to live with the consequences. If you're feeling empowered, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment saying, I am the prize. Number 2. Emotional detachment, the ultimate power. The moment you stop caring, everything shifts. When you stop reacting, stop chasing, stop seeking validation, you completely alter the power dynamic. Here's the truth. True control belongs to the person who needs the other the least. She once held the power over you because you were emotionally invested. Your happiness hinged on her attention. You allowed her to determine your worth. But that version of you is in the past. Now, when you detach, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is what sparks attraction, stirs curiosity, and most importantly, breeds regret. Emotional detachment doesn't mean shutting yourself off from the world. It's about mastering yourself to the point where no external force, no woman, no rejection, no circumstance can disturb your inner peace. When you reach this level of control, you stop reacting, you stop arguing, you stop trying to prove yourself. And that's when she begins to notice. The energy she once took for granted, the attention she was used to, is suddenly gone. And that silence, it's deafening. She will start asking herself, why haven't you called? Why haven't you reached out? Why haven't you begged for another shot? And in that space of uncertainty, doubt creeps in. Doubt in her choices, doubt in her decision, doubt in whether she ever had control in the first place. Because now the tables have turned. Now she's the one checking her phone. Now she's the one looking for signs that you still care. And when she sees nothing, no calls, no texts, no attempts, it'll drive her crazy. But here's the most powerful part. None of this is about her. This is about you stepping into your power as the man who doesn't beg, chase, or need anything from her. The second you realize that your worth is not tied to anyone else's recognition, you become untouchable. That's true strength. That's true dominance. That's the kind of man women respect. And respect, it's far more potent than attraction. The choice is in your hands. You can keep hoping she sees your value, or you can become the man who doesn't need her at all. The man who walks away with his head held high, knowing that his worth was never reliant on her validation. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment saying, I control my emotions. Number 3. Silence speaks louder than words. She expects you to react. She anticipates anger, frustration, a barrage of desperate texts, or long-winded emotional explanations, because that's what most men do. They try to talk their way back in. They seek closure. They demand to be heard. But a man who knows his worth does something entirely different. He goes silent. No arguments, no explanations, no final words, just pure, absolute silence. And that silence, it's the loudest statement you will ever make. Silence holds immense power because it creates uncertainty. When you stop chasing, stop explaining, and stop trying to make her understand, you leave behind a void, a space where your energy, your presence, and your validation used to be. That emptiness will linger, haunting her. She'll begin questioning herself. Did I make the right choice? Why hasn't he reached out? Why isn't he trying to fix this? And in that space of doubt, she will feel something she didn't expect: powerlessness. Most women don't expect men to have the strength to remain silent. They're used to constant attention, even from men they've rejected. But when you remove yourself entirely, you become an enigma. The human mind is drawn to unanswered questions. Why hasn't he called? Why isn't he trying to win me back? Has he moved on? These thoughts will gnaw at her because deep down, she believed she had you figured out. She thought you'd always be there, always hoping for another chance. But now, she's forced to confront a harsh reality. She lost you. And that's when regret begins to seep in, when she scrolls through her phone and sees no missed calls from you, when she looks for a message that never arrives, when she watches you go on with your life as if she was never a part of it. That silence forces her to question everything, because when you were there, she took you for granted. But now that you're gone, she sees your value, and that realization is far more impactful than any words you could ever say. Most men beg for closure, but a Stoic man creates it through absence. No texts, no calls, no social media posts about how she'll regret this. Just complete indifference. Because nothing is more unsettling than a man who no longer cares. This is the ultimate power move. Indifference tells the world, and most importantly, you, that nothing outside of you controls your emotions. Not her, not rejection, not loss. A man who is indifferent is a man who is free. When you stop caring, you stop being controlled. And when you stop being controlled, you become the one in control. This is the essence of Stoicism, understanding that the only thing you can control is yourself. Most men crumble under pressure. They let their emotions dictate their actions, chasing after what they lost, trying to prove their worth to someone who already discarded them. But you've shifted. You walk into a room with an energy that says, "I am complete, with or without you." That presence is magnetic. That is what makes people question their decisions, rethink their choices, and regret their actions. The key is not to react. If she posts something on social media to get your attention, you remain indifferent. If she texts you, you don't respond. If she runs into you and tries to see if you're still affected, you remain unshaken. Because the moment she sees that you are unaffected, that's when it hits her. She no longer has any power over you. But this isn't about her. It never was. This is about mastering yourself to the point where nothing can break your peace. This is about developing a mindset so strong that no person, no rejection, no loss can ever faze you. The truth is, the man who controls his emotions controls everything. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I am unshakable." Number 6. When she notices the shift. At first, she won't think much of it. She'll assume you're still the same, still lurking in the background, still waiting for that perfect moment to reach out. She might even expect you to crack, to send a message, or react to one of her posts. But then, nothing. Days turn into weeks. Silence. No texts. No desperate pleas. No signs of the man who once hung on to every shred of her attention. And that's when she starts to feel it. Women are intuitive. They can sense when a man's energy shifts. And right now, she's starting to notice that something is different about you. You're not waiting anymore. You're not checking in. You're not seeking her approval. And it's not some kind of act. This shift is real. She feels the absence of your attention like an empty space. And for the first time, it bothers her. At first, she tries to brush it off. She tells herself, "He's probably still thinking about me." But then a nagging thought starts to eat at her. What if I was wrong? What if he really doesn't care anymore? What if he's moved on to someone or something better? And that, my friend, is when regret starts creeping in. Not because she lost you, but because she thought she could always keep you as an option. She thought she could come back to you whenever it suited her. But now she's not so sure. Here's where most men fail. They give in too soon. The moment she throws out some bait, like a random "How have you been" text, a like on your post, or a reaction to your story, most men rush to respond, eager to prove they're still available. But not you. You know better now. You know that the second you acknowledge her test, you lose. She gets the confirmation that she still holds a place in your mind, that she still has a piece of you. But when she reaches out and gets no response, when her attempts to draw you in are met with absolute silence, that's when the panic sets in. That's when the doubt starts creeping in. Because now you are the one she can't have. And nothing is more unsettling than losing something you thought you could control. This is where your true power lies, not in playing games, not in trying to make her jealous, but in becoming so focused on your own path, so immersed in your growth that she no longer has access to your world. When she realizes that, when the truth sinks in, she'll regret taking you for granted. She'll wish she never thought she could come and go as she pleased. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I am beyond reach." Number 7. The return test. Will you fail it? It always happens when a man finally detaches, when he starts focusing on himself, stops chasing, and becomes the best version of who he is. And then, without warning, she comes back. Maybe it's a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" Maybe it's a like on your social media, a random comment, or even a sudden interest in your life. Or maybe she stays silent, watching from the shadows, waiting to see if you'll crack first. But make no mistake, this is a test. She doesn't miss you, not yet. What she misses is the control, the comfort of knowing you were always there, always an option. And now that option is gone. She needs to know if she still has access to you. Can she still pull your emotions back in? This is where most men fail. The moment she drops a breadcrumb of attention, they jump on it, thinking it's a sign that she regrets her decision. And just like that, they fall right back into the trap. Here's what happens. She gets the response. She sees that you still care, and suddenly, the power shifts right back to her. The mystery fades. The regret dissipates. She got what she wanted, confirmation that you were never really gone, and in an instant, all the strength you built vanishes. She may entertain you for a moment, giving you just enough to keep you hanging on, but eventually, she'll do exactly what she did before, walk away. But you know better now. You can see the test for what it is, and you do what few men have the discipline to do. You pass. You don't react. You don't acknowledge. You don't give her the satisfaction of knowing she still holds power over you. Because the truth is, you're no longer playing this game. You've outgrown it. You've outgrown her. This isn't about getting her back. This isn't about proving anything to her. This is about proving something to yourself, that you are no longer the man who seeks her validation. The version of you she once knew no longer exists. And when she realizes that, when she sees that you truly don't care anymore, that's when she will feel the loss. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I walk my own path." Number 8. The power shift. It's happening. The same uncertainty, the same doubt, the same emptiness you once felt when she walked away, now she's feeling it. But here's the difference. When you went through it, you were still chasing, still hoping, still believing she was the prize. You thought that if you could just prove your worth, she'd realize what she lost. But now, you've changed. You've learned something she never expected. You were never the one losing. For the first time, she's questioning herself. She wonders if she made the right choice. She replays old conversations in her mind, remembering the way you looked at her, the way you cared, the way you made her feel valued. And then it hits her. You were rare. You were valuable. You were real. And now you're gone. She won't say it out loud. She might even pretend she's fine. But inside, she's feeling that same sting you once felt. Because when she took you for granted, she never imagined you would truly move on. She assumed you'd always be there, waiting in the background, ready to pick up right where things left off. But now, she's staring at a version of you she doesn't recognize, a version that doesn't revolve around her, a version that's outgrown her entirely. And that's when the power shift becomes real. The truth is, she never respected the man who chased her. She never valued the man who placed her above himself. But the man who walked away, the man who disappeared, the man who became something greater, that's the man who haunts her thoughts. That's the man she regrets losing. But here's the final lesson. You don't go back. You don't entertain her attempts to rekindle what's dead, because the past is gone. The version of you who wanted her, he no longer exists. Now, she's the one who has to live with the loss. Like this video, subscribe to the channel and comment, "I am my own source of power." Number 9. The final lesson, mastery over emotions. This was never about her. It was never about making her regret her decisions, forcing her to miss you, or seeking revenge. It was always about you, about your growth, your discipline, and your transformation into a man who is no longer controlled by his emotions. A man who is no longer defined by external validation or swayed by the fleeting desires of another person. True power doesn't lie in manipulating someone's emotions or forcing them to feel something for you. No, the true power is in becoming so self-sufficient, so emotionally independent, that the absence of anyone, her included, no longer affects you at all. Most men live their lives reacting. They react to rejection, heartbreak, and the actions of others. But the man who has mastered himself, the Stoic man, doesn't react. He observes, he understands, and then he moves forward without hesitation. That man, that's who you've become. She thought she could break you. She thought she could walk away and leave you behind. But now she sees the truth. You were never the weak one, the disposable one. In fact, you were the prize all along. She just didn't see it until it was too late. But by then, it's no longer your concern. By now, you understand the most important lesson of all. Your happiness, your peace, your power. None of it was ever dependent on her. And that realization frees you. It makes you untouchable. The man who controls his emotions controls everything. There's no greater revenge, no greater victory than mastering yourself so completely that nothing, not rejection, not loss, not even love, can break you. This is the essence of Stoicism. As you stand on this new path, you no longer seek closure because you are the closure. You no longer seek validation because you validate yourself. And when she looks back, when she finally understands what she lost, when she wishes she could have another chance, by then you'll be long gone, because the man she knew no longer exists. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I control my destiny." Number 10. Freedom, the ultimate victory. This was never about getting her back. It was never about making her suffer, making her jealous, or proving anything to her. That kind of thinking keeps you trapped. It keeps you emotionally tied to someone who has already shown you they don't value you. No, this was about freedom. Freedom from the emotional chains that once bound you. Freedom from needing external validation. Freedom from being controlled by someone else's choices. Think about it for a moment. How much time did you waste thinking about her? How much energy did you spend trying to figure out what went wrong, replaying old conversations, hoping for a different outcome? And now, look at you. You no longer care. You no longer need closure. You no longer crave her approval. That is real power. That is true victory. Because the greatest revenge, the ultimate success, isn't in proving her wrong. It's in reaching a place where she no longer even matters. You are no longer the man she walked away from. You are no longer the man who put her on a pedestal, who sacrificed his peace for the hope of keeping her. That version of you is dead. In his place stands a man who is unshakable, who does not chase, who does not seek, who does not waver in his purpose. And that man, that kind of man, is rare. He's irresistible, not just to women, but to the world itself. A man who controls his mind, his emotions, and his path. That is the man who wins. And now she feels what you once felt, the uncertainty, the regret, the pain of knowing she can't have what she once took for granted, But here's the best part. You don't even notice. While she was busy looking back, you were too focused on moving forward. That's the difference between those who stay stuck in the past and those who dominate their future. This was never about her. It was always about you. And now you understand the truth. The man who needs nothing gains everything. Now we've come full circle. You started this journey as the man who was overlooked, who was treated as an option, who gave his all to someone who never truly valued him. But look at you now. Look at how far you've come. You are no longer defined by the past, no longer held down by what she did, by what she chose, by what she thought of you. Because in the end, none of it ever really mattered. What mattered was you, your growth, your transformation, your ability to take pain and forge it into power. You have proven something most men never will, that you are unbreakable, that you can walk away from anything and still thrive, that you do not need closure, you do not need validation, and you damn sure don't need her to see your worth, because you see it now. And the moment you recognized your own value, you became untouchable. She thought you would wait. She thought you would chase. She thought you would always be an option. But she was wrong. You disappeared, and now she is the one looking back, the one questioning herself, the one who lost. But by now, it doesn't even matter to you, because you've outgrown the need for revenge, for regret, for anything other than your own evolution. And that, my friend, is real victory. Not winning her back, not making her jealous, but reaching a place where her presence or absence has no effect on you at all. Because now you understand the ultimate truth. The man who needs nothing gains everything. This is the new you, stronger, wiser, unshakable. A man who walks his own path, who never looks back, who commands respect, not by demanding it, but by embodying it. This is the path of a true Stoic. This is the path of power. If this message resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to the channel and comment, "I am unstoppable." Now go, walk forward, and never look back.